Isn't that funny? You never see anyone on TV, and we all watch all this annoying political crap.
Yeah.
And everyone's screaming. You never see somebody go, you know what? You're right, I'm wrong. I'm going to change my opinion.
Wow.
You never see that.
Wow.
I am Mr. Beat, but can I actually change your mind? These folks on the subreddit changmyview seem to want their minds changed. Steven Crowder seems to want his mind changed. Oh, well, this is interesting. This person defending Steven Crowder's Change My Mind series also wants their mind changed. And holy crap, they changed their mind. Delta awarded. Ha ha ha. But yeah. No, I am probably not able to change your mind because you're actually probably more attached to emotion or group affiliation than you are facts. That sounds really bad, but however, if you're over 30 years old, it's even more unlikely that I can change your mind. Don't believe me?
No, not really.
Maybe I can change your mind.
I don't think so.
I made a graph. See this graph here, it's a little bit crudely drawn, but it's so scientific. As you can see on the y-axis, we have how open-minded you are, and the further up you go, the more open-minded you are. And on the x-axis, the age, how, like going that way, it's the older you are. So you start off life very open-minded, but then it starts to go down until you're a teenager, but then back up again when you're in your 20s. Are you paying attention? And so when you're in your 20s, the reason why it goes up is because you're taking bigger risks, you're moving away from your family, you're starting your own family, you're taking a new job, maybe moving away, but then once you hit 30, it starts to go down again, generally speaking, until you're an older person and you're just, no. I mean, one time I tried changing my grandpa's mind about something, didn't happen.
Matt, do we really have to do this right now?
Okay, I guess I'll just wait till you're older. And this trend takes place across all cultures. It's pretty universal. What's that now? You don't believe me? Well, perhaps I can change your mind. So why are older people less open-minded in general compared to younger people? But first, this video is a collaboration with Mr. Heimler of Heimler's History. He also knows that people rarely change their minds, and he made a video related to this, about the outrage culture we see on the internet these days. Be sure to check it out when you're done watching this one. Okay, so why are older folks generally less open-minded? First of all, older folks tend to be smarter. The very fact that they know more makes it more difficult for them to learn something new. Since they have more existing knowledge, this causes them to inevitably have more biases. Second, younger learners have inherently more flexible minds. We apparently evolved this way. One theory says that we have to be exploratory when we are younger in order to act more effectively as adults. As children get older, frontal areas of the brain, the part of the brain associated with a more focused attention, better planning, and executive control, limit what the rest of the brain can do. In other words, adults may be pretty good at stuff, but only because they were easily able to experiment and discover during the learning process. Third, older learners process new information slower than younger learners. Please don't get offended, older folks. Remember what I said earlier. First of all, older folks tend to be smarter. I remember that too. Kind of. Anyway, if you process new information slower, that doesn't necessarily mean you have less intelligence. Fourth, intellectual curiosity tends to go down the older you get. The assumption is, if you don't care to get out of your comfort zone, why would you embrace new ideas? And finally, older folks tend to seek out familiarity in order to reduce stress. While change at any point in life is stressful, change when you're older is especially difficult. Now, does this mean we tend to get more conservative the older we get? Not necessarily. One American study showed that older folks actually became more liberal on social issues the older they got. However, this doesn't mean they changed their minds overnight. Which leads me to my last point, which is I can change your mind no matter how old you are. Eventually. but it would be silly to give me all the credit. We only tend to change our minds when we repeatedly hear facts that contradict our prior opinions, but especially hear them from others we trust. Those others could be our family, or friends, or even a media outlet. However, it doesn't necessarily have to be people we trust. In fact, it doesn't even have to be over a long period of time. For example, one study looked at people's attitudes before and after San Francisco banned the sale of water bottles. Just one day after the ban, people were less opposed to it. The reason? We often rationalize things that are forced upon us. So if a law changes something, we give in. Also, I could probably change your mind by wording the opposing side in a way that you haven't heard before. For example, you may be against single-payer healthcare, but if I go on and on about Medicare for all, you might be for that if you are a fan of Medicare. In conclusion, older people definitely tend to be less open-minded than younger people, but this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Grandpa is full of wisdom. Right, Grandpa? Right, Grandpa? Turn up the volume. So what do you think? Are all the studies wrong? Are older people not closed-minded? Am I closed-minded? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to check out Heimler's history and his video about outrage culture, especially the kind we see on social media, and I've linked it below. Subscribe to his channel over there. He needs some subscribers, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for watching, Beatniks.